And I'm live. Hi guys, it's Claire Perceiving a Life. And we're gonna try and get through this before my phone dies. We're also trying to have a second person on the computer just in case anybody decides to comment. This is a lovely live stream. When that pops up, go ahead and hit the mute button in the video. Thank you. All right, so this is my most frequently asked questions with regards to how to wash laundry by hand. I'm going to go through the first 5 questions that I get pretty often, and then if anybody should opt to come into the live stream and ask a question, I'll answer those at the end. I'm not really expecting anybody, but if it happens, it happens. So, first question, and everybody asks me this. Everybody. They ask me, why do you do it? Why do you wash your laundry by hand? And the simple answer is that I realized a long time ago that it was okay to be dirty. It was not okay to be poor. No, I said that wrong. It's okay to be poor. It's not okay to be dirty. Oh, geez. So, it's okay to be poor. It's not okay to be dirty. And it was perfectly within my capability to wash my laundry, even though I had $0 to go to the laundromat. So I do that. I'm still not doing super duper well, but I do well enough. I could probably go to the laundromat on a semi-regular basis, but I don't, and I'm just not willing to spend that much money every week washing my clothes when I can do it here for free. My utilities are free here, and even if I did pay utilities, it would still be cheaper for me to just wash it by hand. So that is the primary reason, but the whole it's okay to be poor, it's not okay to be dirty is how I justified it to myself. Number 2, this was asked by Dave Fife in one of my comments. It said, how long does it take clothes to dry in a humid area? And that's a big question. Like, how long does it take? And there's no short answer to that because it depends on how wet your clothes are when you hang them up, what kind of airflow you have, what type of clothing is being hung up, how wet it is when you're still hanging it, whether the sun's out kind of matters. There's like a whole, it depends. It varies so greatly. I cannot give you a specific time frame. What I can tell you to do is to get it out, if you can, to get it out to dry in the sun if you're doing it outside before 10 a.m. and it'll probably be done about noon if you have a good sunny day, whether it's humid or not, as long as you have decent airflow and you've done your best to wring out as much as you can of that water. Every drop of water that you wring out of your clothes is a little bit less than it has to spend on the line. On hot summer days, even if it's humid, I'm able to put out my clothes if I get them out by 10 and I pull off most, if not all of them, by noon. I can go ahead and put another load out, and then even if I have like some jeans or towels or whatever that aren't quite dry yet, by about 4 o'clock, everything's done, generally speaking. But you just really have to check everything. Number 3 is what kind of detergent should you use? That's prompted by a comment that I received from SP on Spring. And the comment went something along the lines of that person was doing their laundry by hand in a bathtub too, and that somebody told them it was bad to use laundry detergent. I guess if you're using like commercially produced laundry detergent, you may not necessarily want that to be in contact with your skin on a regular basis, but I make homemade laundry detergent and I haven't had any issues with it. In fact, the reason that I started making it was because even with a conventional washer and dryer, I was still breaking out with a lot of commercially produced laundry detergents. And so I opted not to use them anymore. And I haven't had any issues with the stuff that I make at home. But somebody had told that person to use dish detergent instead because you are able to get that in contact with your skin. I have used dish detergent to wash my clothes because if that's the only soap you got, that's the only soap you got. But the biggest deal is, the type of detergent that I use is my homemade detergent primarily. I will occasionally, if I get some, use commercially produced detergent or dish detergent or whatever. But the biggest tip that I have for that is if you are using any kind of powder detergent, make sure that when you get your water in your tub full, before you even put your clothes in it, dissolve your powder, because it will not dissolve. And if you put it in there and then you mix your clothes up with it in there, and then it dissolves, you run the risk of having detergent streaks in your clothes even after you've rinsed them several times. And it usually takes another 1 to 2 bouts of washing by hand to get out those marks, particularly in dark clothes. That's been my experience. Number 4 is, how do the clothes not have a smell? That was asked by Brian Grantham, and it was probably his wife Lisa that left that comment, just because I know how they've interacted in my comments before. But either Brian or Lisa left that comment, and the comment was something along the lines of, that they had washed their laundry by hand before, and it was just a different part of their life. It wasn't something that was ongoing. But when they did that, they had issues with smell. When the laundry was done and it was time to put it up, it smelled musty. And that's not ever something you want to happen with your clothes, whether you're washing with a conventional washer and dryer or not. So one of the things that I do is, instead of using traditional laundry, like fabric softener, I use vinegar. And I just kind of eyeball it. I guess it's about a cup per load, but I don't really know. I just eyeball it. I know what feels right for how many clothes I have in the tub. If you dilute it properly, it doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't smell like vinegar, but what it does is it helps kill some of the microbes in the clothes that are causing that smell. Because what you have when you have smell on your clothes is you have excess moisture and you have excess bacteria. So if you can get rid of some of that bacteria by using a vinegar rinse, and I put that directly into my rinse water, if you can get rid of some of that, it'll definitely decrease the smell that you have. I've never had an issue with smell, even if I've forgotten the vinegar. So another thing with the excess moisture is going to be to make sure, absolutely triply, quadruply sure, that you are wringing out your clothes as well as you can before you go to dry them up. Put them on the line and dry them. Because if you are putting saturated, like totally wet clothes on the line, you are going to have a smell, because it's going to take them way too long to dry. And the longer they take to dry, the more opportunity that you're giving that bacteria to grow on your clothes, and it's going to smell funky. And you don't want funky clothes. So that's the best I have for you, is use a vinegar rinse and wring your clothes out really well. The less time it can spend on the line, the better. The 5th question is just kind of a question I've gotten a couple of times. Somebody particularly asked me this, and I could not find the comment to indicate who asked me. But it was something along the lines of, how do you get your clothes, particularly towels, to not feel crunchy, crispy, and gross? That is a issue that I've dealt with here in Indiana. I have really hard water, even though I live in the city and I'm on the city water system. I have really, really hard water. In the counties around here, in the rural communities, if you don't have a water softener, it is ridiculous. So what you have is a buildup of minerals. In this area, we've got a lot of lime and calcium and iron in the water. Like, just everything you could imagine being in this water is in this water. And so what I do is the vinegar rinse. That definitely helps soften the water and keeps that buildup from happening on your clothes. And it also helps to keep the soap off. Like, it helps rinse off the soap, because even if you have soft water, if you are not getting all the soap out of your clothes properly, then they're going to feel kind of gritty and maybe even kind of almost like slimy feeling when they're dry. And that's just not getting all of the buildup off your clothes. If you work in fast food or any kind of food service, like I did for a long time, when I very first started washing my laundry by hand, we had to deal with grease, because you don't work in a kitchen and not get greasy. So one of the issues that we had was cutting through that, and so I was having to do 2 vinegar rinses to help get through that, and I was having to make some really, really aggressive homemade detergent that had a lot of grease fighters in it. There's a lot of baking soda, and I actually, as part of my practice, I put dish detergent in with my homemade laundry detergent during that time, because it would help cut through the grease. So that will help also to keep them from being crunchy, just get them absolutely clean. If you've done all that and your clothes don't smell but they are still crunchy, one of the things that you can do, if you have, especially if you have hard water, and particularly with your towels, is to either have somebody else stand with you and twist your towels like you're wringing them out, but they're fully dry, but to twist them and kind of break up that ick that's on them. Or you can, if you're lucky enough to have some kind of rod or tension device or whatever, you can throw it over that and do that yourself, and that will help keep it, like if you're using towels, from feeling scratchy when you get out of the shower. So that is basically what I've got. My phone's down to 10% already. But that's basically what I've got. I don't think I've received any additional comments in this live stream, but if you happen to have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments in the video if you happen to watch the playback, and I will answer them in the comments. If I get enough of them, I'll do a second part of this video. But for right now, I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you around.